Nice to see you. Gospel of Mark in 5 minutes. Today's going to be a little longer because of the way the lectionary unfolds. While we're in chapter 11, the lectionary reading, it doesn't include the entire chapter, but we want to cover the entire chapter. So I'm going to read all the way through it. And as I do, the word I invite you to think about in your heart is faith. Chapter 11. When they were approaching Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will enter it, and you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' just say to them, 'The Lord needs it, and will send it back here immediately.'" They went away and found a colt tied at a door outside in the street. As they were untying it, some of the bystanders said to them, "What are you doing untying the colt?" They told them what Jesus had said, and they allowed them to take it. Then they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, and others spread leafy branches that they had cut in the fields. Then those who went ahead and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our ancestor David. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Then Jesus entered Jerusalem and went into the temple. And when he had looked around at everything, as it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry. Seeing at the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see whether perhaps he would find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. He said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard it. Then they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling and those who were buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. He was teaching and saying, "Is it not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." And when the chief priests and the scribes heard it, they kept looking for a way to kill him, for they were afraid of him, because the whole crowd was spellbound. And when evening came, Jesus and his disciples went out to the city. In the morning as they passed by, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. Then Peter, remembering, said to Jesus, "Rabbi, the fig tree that you cursed has withered." Jesus answered them, "Have faith in God. Truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain, 'Be taken up and thrown into the sea,' and if you do not doubt in your heart but believe that what you say will come to pass, it will be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father in heaven may also forgive you your trespasses." Again they came to Jerusalem. As Jesus was walking in the temple, the chief priests and the scribes and the elders came to him, and they said, "By what authority are you doing these things? Who gave you this authority to do them?" And Jesus said to them, "I will ask you one question. Answer me, and I will tell you by what authority I do these things. Did the baptism of John come from heaven, or was it of human origin? Answer me." They argued with one another. "If we say from heaven," he will say, "Why then did you not believe him? But shall we say of human origin?" They were afraid of the crowd, for all regarded John as truly a prophet. So they answered Jesus, "We do not know." And Jesus said to them, neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things. It's the whole chapter. Took us a while to get through. Thank you for your patience. So we have a lot going on here. Jesus has arrived in Jerusalem. He is welcomed as the Messiah, the Son of David. He rides in on the colt. You may be familiar with the story. And people quote Psalm 118 and when they say, "Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest heaven." From the Psalms. And now we see Jesus going to the temple. He's going back and forth in this pattern where he's staying in Bethany, down through across the Mount of Olives, through the Garden of Gethsemane, over to the temple and back again, day in and day out. And he comes across a fig tree, and it has no fruit, and he curses it. Now, Jesus isn't a cursing kind of guy, in a sense. This was to symbolize that the fruit on the vine of the people of Israel had withered and was not feeding the people anymore. And so this is sort of a symbol that he is enacting through the material world. Of course, Peter takes it as a curse, but when he calls it to Jesus' mind, Jesus says, "No, this is about faith, right? It's faith is the way we engage God. It's not the rules, or it's not doing everything right. It's having this deep, faithful trust in the Lord." And you see later on when Jesus is in this conversation with the chief priests and the scribes and the elders about John, the question, Jesus traps them in their words, right? Jesus traps them between their actions and the actions of other people, right? If they say one thing, then Jesus will say, "Why didn't you do this?" If they say another thing, then the crowd will do this. And so they are incapacitated in their capacity to talk about what's happening in the world. And Jesus says the authority, our authority to be people, to act in the world, is our faith. And faith then, particularly as expressed through prayer, gives us the power, the agency, the authority to act in the world. So I think you might be surprised to find that this word faith is actually the thing that gives you your agency and power in the world. Faith in what? Faith in the reality that this world is God's world, that you are a creation of God, made by God as an expression of God's love in the world. And so today, I'd like you to pull that word apart. Maybe reread this super long chapter 11 again, and wonder about faith. Wonder about God's faith in you, and your faith in God, your trust that God is there for you. And because God is there for you, if God is with you, as Paul says, who can be against you? Be at peace. Thank you for joining me. Peace upon your soul.